Meth is spreading across California, from the cities to the farms.
With Vice President Harris visiting Douglas, people near the border are hoping to shine the spotlight on the most pressing needs for their communities. ABC 15's Jane Caffrey has been talking with local leaders. And Jane, what do they consider most crucial in her visit?
Well, Javier, it's immigration policy, and that's something that VP Harris is expected to talk about at any minute now at a rally happening in Douglas. Now, let's take a live look. She's expected to come out. We saw Senator Mark Kelly addressing the crowd just a few minutes ago, and we are expecting to hear from the vice president at any moment. Now, in talking to some local leaders about their priorities, Cochise County Sheriff Mark Daniels tells me Arizona sheriffs have been trying to work with the White House on immigration issues for the past 4 years. He says, most importantly, they need support from the federal government.
I know she's got some tough positions, policy she's coming out with. I saw some of that earlier. I applaud her if she does it. She's still the vice president. Let's do it now. Let's not wait.
Douglas Mayor Donald Hewish also tells me current policies are putting a burden on border communities. He wants a new plan that puts less stress on
secure the border versus secure the
process those that have legitimate claims for asylum. So I would love to see more administrative law judges on the border.
Mayor Hewish described Douglas as a safe city and one he expects will grow tremendously in a few years when a new commercial port of entry is built, a project the Biden administration signed off on. And one concern we're hearing from people is that this is Harris's first visit to the border in 3 years. And Javier, I know you recently spoke to people in Douglas for our 48 Hours on the Border project, and you learned that they're inviting.
Tonight, Vice President Harris landing in Arizona for her first trip to the southern border in 3 years, but also facing new criticism from former President Trump after the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Director sent a letter to lawmakers revealing more than 13,000 migrants previously convicted of homicide are currently free inside the U.S.
And I've been saying this from the beginning of the Harris-Biden disaster. What they've done to our country with this is inexcusable.
A source familiar with the data tells NBC News many entered the country prior to the Biden administration and that ICE lacks resources to find them. All of it after Trump earlier today met with Ukrainian President Zelensky.
A great honor to have you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thanks so much.
Trump calling it a great meeting.
I also have a very good relationship, as you know, with President Putin. I think that we can work out something that's good for both sides.
Meanwhile, here in rural Cochise County, Arizona, a senior campaign official says Harris will propose tighter asylum restrictions than President Biden. There's been a record 10 million illegal border crossings since Harris and President Biden took office.
We do have a broken immigration system, and it needs to be fixed.
Still, crossings have dropped dramatically in recent months, and Harris is slamming Trump for killing a bipartisan border bill earlier this year. How frustrating was that for you?
Absolutely frustrating.
Harris supporter and former sheriff's deputy Danya Acosta voted for Trump in 2016, but now says he's relying on fear.
That's really sad that people are being used as pawns for political reasons.
This has been in your family for more than 100 years. 128.
The rancher John Ladd says the Biden-Harris Ladd took us to a border fence constructed during the Trump administration, showing us where smugglers have cut it repeatedly. He's skeptical of Harris's promise to secure the border. Immigration, she's polling better on the issue than President Biden. And her campaign believes.
Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea.
Newly released video shows the treatment of some inmates in custody in Harris County. The surveillance footage shows a jail guard repeatedly punching an inmate inside the Joint Processing Center. Fox 26's Jade Fleury has the story.
This has been a severe problem here at the Harris County Jail with guards using excessive force on individuals.
Video from January 19th inside Harris County's Joint Processing Center captures a clash between a jail guard and an inmate. At first, the guard is seen speaking to inmate D'Alessandro Chavez Sandoval from afar.
He was basically telling him to be quiet because they were like calling roll, because they were calling roll in the JPC, and the guard claims that Alessandro was laughing and telling jokes.
The guard is seen approaching the inmate, grabbing him by the sweatshirt and punching Chavez Sandoval multiple times.
It was unwarranted and excessive force.
Chavez Sandoval is seen swinging back at the guard as multiple jailers step in.
What the proper procedure is to take him to the ground and put the handcuffs on, which they eventually did. Not this beating.
Chavez Sandoval was in the Joint Processing Center for a technical violation of his probation as a juvenile years ago. His mother says he called her the same day it happened.
Como mamá, no se lo deseo a otra madre.
She says she was devastated when she watched the video and that she hopes for justice for her son. Chavez Sandoval is still being held here at the jail. The Harris County Sheriff's Office says that they've reviewed the incident internally and no complaint has been filed by the inmate. He was charged with the assault of a public servant. Reporting from downtown Houston, Jade Fleury, Fox 26 News.
Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez is commending a detention officer who was assaulted by an inmate. And that officer is sounding the alarm tonight, saying something needs to be done now. Our Rowan Belogan live outside the jail where the officer says short staffing is to blame for this. Rowan.
When he was attacked. Harris County Detention Officer J. Valdivius recovering at home after he says he was assaulted by a capital murder suspect awaiting trial.
As soon as I was making my way down the stairs, that's where he snuck me from behind, and I ended up turning around immediately and then I guess trying to like swing back or fight back in general, defending myself.
The suspect, Christian Dillard. Court records show this isn't the first time Dillard is accused of assaulting an officer or peace officer.
You have here assault bodily injury, assault by striking another detention officer, striking another detention officer, and now aggravated assault.
David Cuevas is the president of the Harris County Deputies Organization.
We need more personnel, and we need to do a better job of protecting our DOs, our detention officers that are down there.
A sheriff spokesperson tells me there are 193 vacancies in the jail. In a tweet, Sheriff Ed Gonzalez commending Valdivius and adding quotes, "We work hard to make our jail safe for everyone who lives and works there. There's no easy task in an overcrowded facility that houses more than 800 people charged with murder or capital murder."
I'm not waiting for someone else to get hurt or someone else to possibly lose their life for them to do something about it.
Now, the suspect in this case, Christian Dillard, is set to appear in court tomorrow, and according to court
A late-night visit in the heart of El Salvador.
So for Malayo.
Telemundo cameras are given rare access to Latin America's largest prison. Inside this mega prison, you'll find some of El Salvador's most dangerous gang members packed into massive cells, towers of bunk beds, and what looks like bird cages.
Buenas noches, señor presidente.
It's a source of pride for President Nayib Bukele that almost 2 years ago declared a war on crime. A detention center the size of 7 football stadiums with capacity to hold 40,000 prisoners, the largest of its kind in Latin America. Known as the Center for Terrorism Confinement, it opened its doors in 2023 after the government declared a state of emergency. The move limiting civil rights and allowing massive arrest of tens of thousands of gang members. Salvador was considered the most dangerous country in Central America. But the massive arrests have come with criticism. Under the current law, children as young as 12 can now be charged as adults. Also, mass trials can be held. And international watch groups say innocent people are being caught in the raids. Many sounding the alarm last year, calling for transparency.
We don't know if those who are being detained have committed a crime or are just there because they were tattooed and were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And for those who end up here, the director says there is no separation even between rival gangs, all sleeping in the same large cells with no rights to visitation. The dark side to the radical change that brought peace to the streets of a nation.
Guad Venegas joins us tonight from Miami. Guad, incredible access there by our partners at Telemundo inside this prison complex. But, you know, sometimes, and I know you've done these embeds before, when you go in, you're not allowed.
Say includes details that come from former detainees. These detainees saying that there are a lack of essential services, unhealthy conditions that can contribute to the spread of disease, even saying that some deaths of former prisoners could have been linked to these unhealthy conditions. Now, and take the game by the president standing firm by his decisions, Tom.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated.
Google Cloud AI knows a 98-mile-per-hour heater with a 13-inch drop means a 24.7% chance the home team.
Which means they are here. And Tony Gonzalez, on ICE's non-detained docket, they're currently tracking 425 of a horrible sexual assault. Misconception about them that they're kicking in. Have to answer about where she stands on sanctuary jurisdictions, detainers. She pledged to get rid of ICE detainers back in 2019. Where does she stand on that now? Has she flip-flopped on that like she has on some of her other border positions? Hopefully we get the chance to get the chance.
Let's bring in Terrell County Sheriff, Texas Sheriff, and retired Border Patrol Agent Thaddeus Cleveland, along with Arizona rancher Tyler Klump. Gentlemen, thank you both for coming on. Sheriff, to you first. You look at those numbers, 400,000 convicted criminals we have allowed in this country. It is mind-boggling, Sheriff.
Hi, Tracy. It's great to be back with you. And you know, I may surprise you, but those numbers are going to be a lot higher. That's just what we know on our own databases here in the United States.
Been talking about those water rescues that have been taking place all throughout the last several hours. And this video right here showing just some of those rescues. You can see that woman right there with a baby in hand. Now, it's not clear the situation specifically. Folks who have been the storm now having maximum sustained winds of about 70 miles per hour, making it a tropical storm. It is expected to weaken even further as it continues to move and dump all of that rain. It should be around tropical depression status as it does eventually move over into areas like Kentucky and Tennessee that are
Border Patrol agents quickly turn into heroes. Take a look at this. They rescued a Mexican woman found dangling from the border wall. Turns out the woman trying to cross into the U.S. was actually abandoned by smugglers who ran away when they saw federal agents approaching the Arizona border. Thankfully, by the Border Patrol.
Good evening, everybody, and thanks for joining us. I'm Sean Mooney. Monica Garcia has the night off. Vice President Kamala Harris came back to battleground Arizona today to visit the southern border for the first time as the
systems that can detect fentanyl hidden in vehicles.
Harris went after former President Donald Trump, laying the blame at Trump for killing a bipartisan border deal earlier this year. It would have added 1,500 new Border Patrol agents and put more asylum officers and judges on the border to rule on asylum claims more quickly. This despite facing criticism from Republicans who say she was directed by President Biden to oversee the migrant surge at the border, and that she has done nothing to address the crisis over the last 3.5 years. As this visit to the border will close the gap with former President Trump when it comes to who voters believe is best suited to handle immigration. The Vice President says if she's elected, she'll take further action to reduce the number of illegal border crossings.
Those who cross our borders unlawfully will be apprehended and removed and barred from re-entering for 5 years. We will pursue more severe criminal charges against repeat violators.
Harris will be in California tonight. She'll then head to Nevada on Sunday for a rally, another critical swing state out west here. Remember, that vice presidential debate between Governor Tim Walz and Senator J.D. Vance.
Jeez. Will you go back to the border?